Chefs of Reddit, what are some cooking tips everyone should know? A falling knife has no handle. The worst cut I've ever had was from trying catch one on reflex. I got sliced across all my fingers, great tip to internalize. I'm terrified because my natural instinct when I drop things is to break their fall with my foot, which has saved plates from breaking, sodas from exploding, phone screens from cracking, etc. Knives will keep right on stabbing, though. I'm glad to hear someone else has this largely unhelpful reflex. Sadly, I often end up punting what I've dropped instead of merely breaking its fall. I, too, have launched many things with the foot cushion attempt. Made that mistake once, caught the knife tip first in my palm. It was only about 1/8 or a 1/4 inch deep and missed the important parts. A few stitches and weeks of recovery and was back to normal. Still wouldn't recommend it as I got both marinara and blood on the floor. Falling knives and runaway wives, let them all go. 2 things for beginners. First, taste as you cook. At various stages of cooking, while safe, not raw meat, taste your food as you cook it. This lets you know if you have too much of something or too little. It also helps you develop your palate for what different seasonings do. Second, if you're just starting out and don't know which spices to buy, pick a specific cuisine you like. Are you a fan of Italian food? Focus only on Italian recipes for a while. Most use similar herbs and spices because the cuisine of the area used what they had available to them. This will let you learn several recipes without having to buy massive amounts of spices to make it work. Eventually you will build up a good stock and be set to handle most things. The problem is I can't for the life of me make out flavors in food. My mom always says taste your food and see what it's missing. I always try that and I can't ever figure out what it is that it's missing. Is it garlic? Onion? Cumin? I don't know. And I've been trying for years. Edit. Thanks for all the awesome tips everyone. I hope someone else benefited from the comments as much as I did. Usually the missing thing will be salt or acid. Usually. Occasionally it is fat. Edit. Laughing out loud, you're all killing me with the acid jokes. On a more serious note, I highly recommend the Netflix miniseries Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. Just add some paper squares. I recently learned this means acid. You can substitute mushrooms in a pinch. Identifying missing herbs and spices is hard, but the biggest thing tasting will tell you is if you need to add more salt. If it's bland, more salt, or an acid depending on the dish, is usually what you need to kick up the flavor. Adding salt while you taste prevents you from oversalting, since you can't take it out. Also MSG. That crap's awesome at adding a nice beefy /mushroom /parmesan flavor. Edit. Why do people assume I don't know the word umami when I'm the one bringing up MSG? I was trying to be Eli 5-level descriptive and helpful. I mean, come on. MSG is the king of flavor. Okay, Uncle Roger. Oven mitts can in fact catch on fire. Also, if you have wet hands or get the oven mitt wet, they don't work lol. A good kitchen should be equipped with a plentiful supply of clean dry towels. When I worked in a restaurant, I'd volunteer to go get the clean rags from laundry so I could make sure I had enough good ones for myself. Always a couple clean ones in the back pocket so you're never off guard when it comes time to grab a hot pan. I used to do the same thing, but would use the time to smoke some grass out back with my buddy Pedro. This guy works in restaurants. And oh god, don't use it if they got wet. Tongs are also oven mitts, juicers, knives, spoons, and extended arms. Just make sure you click them at least twice before using them to make sure they are on. +1 for the double click to activate tongs. 3 or 4 times the amount of butter and salt is a big part of why your food doesn't taste like restaurant food. How about 4 to 5 times the garlic? Still not enough. If a recipe calls for 2 cloves, I adjust to 2 bulbs. The only recipe where I use the correct amount of garlic is the one where you roast garlic in foil. And that's only because it's kind of impossible to go past 100% garlic. Holds up bulb, this one goes to 110%. I'm so glad I'm not alone in this world. Got it. Going to stock up on butter and salt, wish me luck guys. I don't know, the times we've accidentally used more salt than called for, double at most, the dish just tasted salty. Not in a good way. Edit, today I learned all salt isn't the same. That's probably a good thing that your salt tolerance is very low. It's easy to get used to adding more and more salt out of routine, and then your palate is geared towards overly salty food. Most chefs, however, are very used to being extremely liberal with the salt. Go onto YouTube and look up any Gordon Ramsay how-to recipe and observe what he considers a touch of salt. In fact, just the other day I watched Gordon make a burger outdoors with a hippo behind him and he literally salted the effing cheese, smiley face, smiley face. I mean, the man salted a bag of Fritos. What do you expect? Wait, when did he salt Fritos? Aren't those basically corn and salt with like 1% spices? For thick and nice sauces, use the water you cook your pasta with. Was looking for this. I learned it helps the sauce stick to the pasta better, too. I always save a bit of the pasta water to add to my sauce even if it's just marinara. Every time I think to do this I've already strained and dumped the pasta water. Every single time. Put a cup in your colander so the next time you take it out to strain, maybe, it'll remind you. Whatever you do, do not put your coconut in the microwave. I need to know the story behind this. They put the coconut in the microwave. Fair enough. To heat it a bit before the action. If it's a whole coconut, I feel like the coconut water might, as it evaporates, create a huge pressure inside of the coconut shell, which will build up until it's strong enough to physically shatter the hard shell, at which point it's also strong enough to F crap up. But pure guesswork. Yeah, it's going to become a microwaved coconut bomb. If a little steam is enough to pop the top off a Tupperware of leftovers, I can only imagine the shrapnel bomb a microwaved coconut must become. If you plan on using juice from limes, oranges or lemons, roll them around, pushing on them, not too hard, before cutting them. Edit, I did not think this would get attention, so I will clarify this is for when you want to hand juice limes, lemons or oranges. Opinion on bottled lemon and lime juices? Edit, because I'm too lazy to multi-reply, definitely agree that fresh is better, just wish the fruit didn't rot so quickly. I mean, you can roll the bottles around on the counter, but it's really not necessary. My first laugh of the day. Thanks. I really hope you just woke up and aren't in the second half of your day or anything. I've been awake for 4.5 hours and that was my first real laugh of the day. I need to point out I am not chef, I just worked at a mom and pop restaurant as a waitress and I occasionally helped in the kitchen and the bar. This is what the chef taught me. Bottled lime juice works if you use a lot of lime juice. Does not taste as sour as fresh lime juice in my opinion. Not the best option, but if you're making something that requires a lot of juice, usually the small loss in quality is worth the time and effort saved. I've also found that cutting your bottled lemon juice with some fresh squeezed lemon juice helps to boost the flavor and make it taste more natural. Also, you can put them in the microwave for about 30 seconds and get more. I combine both techniques and use a citrus juicer and it works well for me. Learn basic cutting techniques for cutting vegetables. Keep it simple. The number ingredients doesn't say anything about the taste of a dish. Go for dishes you can make in 30 to 40 minutes with 6 to 8 ingredients. Keep a notebook. Gather a list recipes and dishes you do regularly. Expand gradually with new stuff. Don't just buy cookbooks you never really use. Adding is easy, removing is hard. People here argue to liberally add butter and seasoning. Tastes differ, though. It's totally fine to put in less if that's what you fancy. You don't need a gazillion utensils. In your daily cooking, a basic kitchen knife already does a lot of the heavy lifting. Learn to use that properly. Observe. How do ingredients act when you combine them? What happens when you put them in a pan or pot and apply heat? Always be cleaning. You have idle time? Clean the sink. Don't be afraid to fail. Learn from your mistakes. Also, don't pretend you know better than the recipe. Especially if you never made a recipe before. Always be cleaning is important to end-of-meal satisfaction. It's such a drag to look up at the end of a great dinner and see a monstrous cleaning task ahead of you. I've been trying to teach my kids. Having them cook is a mixed pleasure. It's nice to see them contribute, and it's nice to get dinner ready-made. Not so nice to clean up the bombed-out mess in the kitchen afterwards. Edit. I agree, the I cook, you do the dishes rule is fair, but there will always be dishes after dinner, and some cleaning discipline during cooking will make the cleaning much less overwhelming. Also, leaving a fairly clean kitchen when dinner is served gives some kind of satisfaction in itself. I try to pass it on, but it's an uphill struggle. My 8-year-old is learning to cook, and we're at a phase in the learning process where we work together to pull out all of the ingredients. She does the prep work and puts the recipe together with some help reading the recipe and confirming measurements, mostly oven dishes right now just based upon what she's interested in learning to cook, and I put things away or into the sink as she uses them. It's nice to really only be doing the cleanup. Heck, if she cooked every night, she loves cooking so far, so this isn't out of realm of possibility. I would help with cleanup every night. Our house rule: whoever cooks, the other cleans, unless it's my sister who is a great cook but can dirty every pot, pan and utensil. My so is that way. Phenomenal cook, but it usually comes with a phenomenal mess. My family always had the I cook it, you clean it rule. It was never a horrid amount of cleaning, but I always thought it was fair, especially in a house of 5. I always clean while cooking. Plenty of time while something is in an oven I clean the kitchen. 100%, I'm a clean-as-you-go guy, but my girlfriend just leaves the kitchen looking like a bomb went off when she cooks. It makes a world of difference not to have to wade into that mess after a nice meal. And remember, the dishes aren't done until the sink is clean. And the counters. Granny always said a clean kitchen is a happy kitchen. Can you please give me an example of what someone might put in a notebook? Been cooking more recently, and this is the first time I've heard that. Every time you burn yourself, get the notebook and write ow. Actually, starting a burn tally might be quite humorous, or it's been X amount of days sign. They had one of those for my fiancée as a barista because she was so clumsy. It's been X days since fiancé has spilled something. Have a burn jar. Every time you burn yourself or get splashed with hot oil from the pane, put a $/$ in the jar. A first aid fund. I have a kitchen notebook that I've kept for 20 years. If I find a recipe online and I cook it more than 3 times and love it, I print it out and paste it in. If I learn a recipe from a friend's grandma, jot it down. See something you like in a magazine or on the box of cornmeal, clip it out. I always test it before it gets put down permanently. Sometimes these are main dishes, but often it's different salad dressings, spice blends, sauces or condiments. Kombucha, sauerkraut, pickles. Basic pie crust, roux or stock. Also simple go-to references: how long to boil an egg? How to prepare couscous? Conversions? And the other thing I do is write in my cookbooks. I like to use a 3-ring binder. Any recipes I print go in a page protector so that if I spill anything while cooking I can simply wipe it off. You can even keep a notebook in the binder with your own notes or recipes you've developed yourself. ETA, thanks for the award. Always write in the cookbook. It took me a while to be okay with that because I do not like defacing books. But there is nothing worse than wondering, did I like this last time I tried it? Write it in. Use less sugar. Best served immediately, awful. Don't make again, saves you headaches in the future. I use the Paprika app. I use it for recipes that I make often enough that I need the recipe. I try to put quick references, like internal temperatures for different meats, simple bread/dough recipes. If I'm constantly Googling something, I write it down. The amount of garlic flavor is dependent on when you add the garlic. Add it early for light flavor, add it late for bold flavor. Edit. Holy crap. I did not expect this much response. Thank you so much everyone for these upvotes and OMB the awards. I've been cooking really intensely at home during COVID and honestly can say I've gotten pretty good. But this might be the only thing I've seen on here that will really change my day-to-day cooking. Thank you. This is a tip I've gotten from cooking videos, mainly Kenji. If you chop your garlic, or onion, the longer you let them sit on the side, the more potent they become. Not sure if this can be used to substitute a lack of quantity, but it's pretty interesting. Off topic, but your guys' usernames go together perfectly. Like chopped onions and garlic. I guess it wasn't that off topic. Thank you for pointing this out to me, I got a belly laugh out of it. I've been crushing the home chef game since COVID started. Mom was a massive cook, always cooking up the best crap at the church potluck, always giving folks who were sick some dope-ass, nun casserole, wildly delicious Puerto Rican Iowan farmer fusion type crap. Everyone agreed she was the best cook they had ever known. So I grew up hearing this and started paying attention when I realized none of my friends' moms even cooked at home other than 1 or 2 meals a week. I endlessly watched how she prepped and stirred. Heat mixing with creativity toward a ridiculous fusion of her childhood and everything she learned from her keen eye. Mom was making up every single meal from scratch. Oh, you want granola? I'll bake my own, it's cheaper and better. Or let's make tacos next week. I'll start sprouting the oats so I can grind my own flour for the tortillas. Woman was insanely talented. Never made mistakes. Knife skills off the charts. Pressure cooking bones and veggies for a whole day before the chicken noodle soup, at which, of course, she made her own noodles from scratch. Mom's even had her own, massive, garden, and we butchered our own chickens, small hobby farm. So when this pandemic hit, I started throwing the F down in the kitchen. Well, needless to say, I've been using garlic a good bit because, let's be honest, if you're not using garlic, you're not cooking most meals right. It's effing delicious. And this one tip is going to level up my game so effing hard it's not even funny. R.I.P., Mom. You are hugely missed. I'll keep cooking till I die, and every time I hit the recipe/idea just right, I'm going to think of you. Edit, a sentence. She sounds like such a legend. It was so heartwarming reading about her. Black heart, what an amazing person and inspiration. I noticed this recently, and it has changed the game for me. Add the garlic later if you want the garlic to be stronger. My girl is an absolute fiend for shrimp Alfredo with a bunch of garlic in it, and adding the garlic to the sauce like halfway through is my real trick. Try adding the garlic in stages for more of a broad spectrum garlic effect. You can roast a whole head of garlic and use it in one dish, throw in a couple cloves halfway through cooking, then add just 1 clove of fresh garlic right at the end and get this crazy delicious whole spectrum of garlic awesomeness. I'm not a chef, just a decent home cook and a fiend for garlic. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.